guys? Ash here in King Arthur Legends Rise. Welcome to the video. I'm not alone. I'm joined by Saph. Saph, what's up, man? Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to see your progress in King Arthur Legends Rise.
I'm ready for my report card grade teacher, Saph here. Saph's going to be our guest expert here to walk me through like his ideas on what I can be doing better after about 30, 40 days now in King Arthur Legends Rise. He will give an honest assessment of my progress and again, help answer some questions I'm sure you might have too if you're around where I am in the game right now. This is a sponsored video, so thank you so much, King Arthur Legends Rise, for making this possible. Even though we absolutely love the game, you guys should still support the game and us by downloading the pinned comment in the description of this video. You'll see a download link. Thank you so much for sponsoring again this video to King Arthur Legends Rise. All right, man, let's start with like my, you know, the least sexy stuff, I guess, and that is my kingdom, I guess, for lack of a better word, right? My development. Yes. I feel like I'm a little bit behind here. I'm not gonna lie. Like my castle's level 8. How much time and energy do you put into upgrading your castle and all your buildings and stuff? You know, I slacked for a while, and now I'm trying to play catch up, basically.
I think it is important, and mainly because you can upgrade like the market and upgrade your forge, which is obviously going to give you some purchasable options, often because of the limitation of how often you can do like the Master of Death and the Master of the other name, the Cromcrack. You can't really get tons of the talismans. So upgrading the shop is probably a good idea so that you get better bonuses. And generally, the upgrading of the buildings is mostly tied to your storyline progression. So if you've fallen behind, it's probably because you did what I did for a while, which is like, I'll go back to that adventure mode in like a week or two.
Adventure mode is probably my biggest snub in the entire game. We'll get to that in a moment.
Like I'm at castle level 10, for example, and you're at 8, so to give you an idea.
So I'm a little bit behind where I should be. That's fair, and it basically jives with what I thought would be the case. Market. I'm just gonna plead guilty, man. I don't check the market every day. Like I'm an idiot, right? I'm so used to a crappy market and raid. Right?
You should, because you can get like legendary, cheap legendary experience things. You can get some of these star seeds, and I don't necessarily buy the common stuff, but I will always pick up the talismans, just because.
It's, you know, they're limited.
They just don't get as enough of it. You can never have enough talismans, and I always tend to pick up the
even the rare talismans, or no?
Yeah, I pick them all up because they're only a bit of gold, but
it's not that expensive.
Often I'll look for the discounts because I don't really spend too much on the more expensive stuff. But like mana orbs, you know, okay, you can go farm them, but hey, it's not too bad if you pick up a few here or there. It's going to save you some daily energy, save you some grinding. Affordable. So. Yes, so exactly. Like, it's not crazy. I mean, gold is a bit of a problem in this game generally. The star seeds, anything
legendary do you buy?
Yeah, pretty much. Anything legendary. I don't tend to buy the brooches because you can just farm campaign like the fairy stones. I tend to pick the things that I know I'm limited farming, which is the talismans and the books more than anything else.
Great advice there. The great advice. All right. So whatever, we'll talk. That's a good overview of what I can be focused more on. My heroes. What do you think in terms of? We just did a summoning video like last week or a few days ago. I'm not sure when that will go live. So before that summoning video, I only had. I say only. I don't know if this is good or bad or whatever, but I had around 6 legendaries. You know, and I spent around give or take like $100 on this game. Full transparency. So I don't know what you think of that in terms of legendaries, and I was able to get all those legendaries, all 6 of them, to level 60. And in addition to that, I'll go through all the legendaries so you guys can see them all as well. In addition to that, I was able to get probably 4 or 5 epics to level 60. Certainly less of a grind compared to raid, which I loved, you know, but I am finding quite a grind to actually get them fully upgraded now. You know,
I agree. So
how do you assess all of that?
Dungeons. The favorite dungeons are brutal. I mean, they're not. They are and they aren't. The difference, obviously, when you play something like raid is you're not limited. It's kind of like their version of faction wars, I guess. In the game, where you have to use, you know, 4 compatible characters for the same favor. So it does require for you to get the materials to go to like the 6-star. You have to be pretty deep, which means you probably have to build 4 of those favors to a high level of degree. So it is quite expensive to try and farm the 5th and 6-star ascension. But I'm actually quite impressed by how many level 60s you have got. You're a little bit ahead of where I am. I've kind of like narrowed to one team where you've kind of gone a bit more broad, and that's probably why I haven't done as much favor dungeon grinding as I should have done. But yeah, these are great. You've done what I've done, which is I think the common behavior most people, which is go straight legendary, and that's kind of like what I did. I've just used legendaries, but the rares that I saw in your list there are actually some of the best ones, like Isolde, I saw that you had K leveled up. I think Anguish
Yes.
was in there.
Anguish, Isolde,
you picked the
K,
good ones.
and Turin. Turin is my most used. Yeah.
Turin is my most used rare as well.
Okay, she's
I often switch
insane.
between Turin and Isolde, generally.
So,
or Isolde, whichever the way you say it.
yeah, right. Well, either way, here's my question for you. Like, in terms of getting these guys leveled up outside of Ascension, right? On the Sealed Temple, I mean, it's the same kind of currency or whatever that we're using on both the hero skills and the relic skills. I'm kind of going towards relic skills. Well, I'm kind of switching it up a little bit. Is that what you do? I mean, right now I'm more on relic skills.
Are way more important in my view.
Relic skills?
No, hero
skills. Okay.
Passives have significant impacts in the way that the character works. Like, so the relic will increase like the efficiency, like sometimes it'll have more damage or it'll improve the bonus. They're important, but I would always start with the passive. Like Bediveh's passive upgrades are huge. I think some of the other characters' passives reduce the cooldown of those passives or increase the usage. I think passives have far more impact in the way that a character will work in a team, more than just upgrading their relic skills.
Well, that's great. I'm glad I asked for sure, because I had been honestly spending more time in the relic skill up. What do you think of my progression here? Like, I don't know how pathetic this is, given there's so many levels. But I'm at level 1 in the Master of the Apocalypse, and
you
I'm
probably
at level...
can do level 2 with the amount of heroes you've got. But actually, I find the progression loop for some is quite big. You know, the jump between like level 2 and 3 doesn't feel like it should be a lot, but actually it can be. Like even, you know, some of these are probably just you need to build specific team members for it.
Exactly. And that's where I am, Saph, too. It's just like, I'm kind of semi low-key embarrassed because I'm doing a little bit of mindless grinding on this game right now. Like, I really enjoy it, and I enjoy going in and feel like I like to learn a bit over time, right, in games like this. So I'm just grinding, you know, kind of my way up, and I'm learning as I go. But I have not taken the time and really researched, frankly, or just done the due diligence of optimizing my teams. I'm kind of like, okay, I've got 10 level 60s. Which combination, through trial and error, can I get to do the best in these dungeons? So this is my progress. Like,
where is the gap out of those 10s, you know, for the different content areas? Like, I will say the new legendary they've added looks to be quite good for Aldry, the current legendary that's on the raid up banner. I think his name's Gilroy. He is very good for, I think, the new for the Frozen Plain, because I think he has a lot of heal disruption and recovery disruption, which you need for that encounter. So that's kind of like what you are at now, is the standard dungeons, which is, you know, the boar, as I like to call him, and the burning land. You're in a pretty good state of those, but now it's like the extra stuff that you need to be doing, which is a similar state to where I'm at, like the relic power-ups and advancements and the awakening stuff. I'm in a similar boat where I've just kind of like got to level 4. I've passively farmed it, but I haven't committed a team build to that just yet. But you've got the heroes for it, so it's just a case of building out and testing, you know, hitting stat break points and getting your gear in the right shape.
And I like how it gives you the recommendations on the levels, because it makes me feel a little bit better when they recommend higher than I have when I fail, you know? So I'm like, okay, I'm not like that bad yet. Okay.
This is where the shop is handy, by the way, because obviously if you're not farming necessarily at the highest stages right now, getting 1 or 2 legendary seeds here or there whilst you're also doing the adventure mode often can give you enough to level up the main character you're using to help you push those stages as well. So it's really key to be checking those.
Another thing which is impressive for a game that this young is how many things there are to do. You know, how many areas there are to farm or progress, right? So between all of these restricted areas and between campaign, give me a good like farm loop, you know, like, because honestly, it's a bit haphazard and ad hoc for me right now. It's like, I haven't farmed here in a while. I'll go grind a little bit there, you know, like, is that the best bet? Like for 40 days in, or, you know, what is most, I've been ignoring the equipment dungeons the most, you know, like my progress is, I guess it's all right, but you know, I don't know. Where should I be spending time and maybe putting off for later?
So I would definitely be doing your time limited keys every day, right? So your priority 1 should always be like your Sealed Temple. Because you only get 6 a day, so you might as well try to make sure you do those 6 a day. The other thing with Forbidden Dungeon, are you using your Forbidden Dungeons even if you can't get any further?
I wasn't until very embarrassingly recently. And then I realized I was making a huge mistake by not. And that's why I was broke on pedestals.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, in the summoning video, I'm like, dude, I can never get pedestals. And then I finally realized, oh, we can auto clear for pedestals, you know?
Yeah, if
So,
you get stuck and you need some time, don't forget to use these every day as well, because, you know, they're free. Obviously, as long as you can keep climbing or keep descending, so long as you have one, but because once you hit the 5, it resets your 5, right, if you keep going. But if you get stuck, just make sure you do that every day, because that'll give you some more resources.
Big mistake.
In terms of
glad you mentioned that.
favor and power up dungeons, you kind of only go to those, I think, if you probably should try to do the favor if you know you're going to need to build a character. But unless you're building characters, you don't need to do either of those really in terms of your focus, because these are only going to give you materials you need to level up that favor. The only thing with the favor is obviously because it rotates. Like if you turn the game on tomorrow and you need to build a new serpent, then you're like, oh, I have to wait for it to come back around, and it can take a while unless it's on a Sunday. So really the most amount of your time then should be in probably gear grinding to
gear dungeons. Gear. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, because obviously the gear is what's going to really empower I find gearing quite difficult in King Arthur. There's lots of things you can do, and I think that means you need to farm it a lot to get lots of good pieces before you can get the builds in a very min-max state, which is then going to probably push you up even higher in the clan boss areas.
I'm sure it's my number one thing, other than adventures, that I'm, there's a few things that I find like, okay, intuitively, I know I need to work on these things big time, right? Adventure, I'm just going along with my castle, like, because I stuck to story mode. Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. The rewards you get in adventure mode is very good. Like, it's one of the primary sources for gems, and you also will get substantial amounts of, like, early advancement materials. Like, so before you get to legendary, you'll get legendary stuff in adventure, if that makes sense. Like the legendary crow statues, the legendary star seeds and stuff like that. You can pick up a lot in adventure mode because you're just progressing. You can see like 200 gems there. If you go to like chapter 5, for example, I don't know if it'll let you preview, these boxes, you're going to get memory stones for legendary characters. You should try to do the boxes and stuff, even if you can't do everything, because it's going to give you tremendous amounts of like catch-up mechanics that you don't have to farm.
It's pretty, you're right. It's pretty bad. Story mode, I haven't tackled in like a week or whatever. I've been slacking a little bit and focusing on other areas, but I'm at,
specifically with story mode, it is part of the gearing loop, because obviously if you need to get vigor sets, you need the half moon shapes, which you farm from campaign.
Yes. Yep.
And the higher the stage you go, the more you get. So, story still matters, essentially.
Dude, most confusing part of the game for me as a newbie is the Mage's Tower. So break it down a little bit for me. What the hell am I doing here? Honestly, it's a little bit paralysis by it. Well, I know I know the basics of the material synthesis, but alchemy specifically, it's been a little bit paralysis by analysis, and I knew we were going to have this collab, so I've been holding off weeks to do much of anything because I'm like, what the hell should I be doing here?
Yeah, so the Alchemy Tower is essentially what I like to call like the inefficient catch-up. Not the wrong word. Basically, you can trade your rubbish materials for the materials you're actually farming now, but at a very inefficient rate, right? So it's not going to give you tremendous amounts. You see there, if you look at the equipment materials, you can trade 50 or 5 of your uncommon ingots and trade it up to 1 of the rare ingots, and you need the rare ingots to do like 4 to 5 star crafting. So if you've got like a lot of old stuff that you're not crafting to, the lower star rating anymore, you can just burn it to basically upgrade it to the higher tier. Now, I would never recommend everyone burns everything, because sometimes you might just want to have a cheap craft. But definitely, if you click the mythic Moonlight Lake Stone there, for example, you can see you can convert, if you wanted to just convert them because all you cared about was the highest material, you could convert it, but it is inefficient. So that is what
would you do if you were me here, having not done anything? Like, what should I be doing with all this crap? What are the horns even do? I'm gonna ask the most embarrassing questions, I'm sure, but like, what does this stuff even, like, there's so many materials that as a newbie I find it quite overwhelming,
So the horns are you will know what they are, because when you go to crafting, you can use these materials to effectively increase the odds that you get a better reward. Imagine, for all you raid players out there, the rank and rarity charms. It's the exact same concept where you can, I think it's in the forge it is, not the relic forge, the main forge. You go to equipment crafting.
Yeah.
And then you see there's 2 horns there. And what it does, if you click the little eye above the one on the right, it will tell you what it's doing. It is increasing the chance of a higher grade and rarity. So if you're doing a 5 to 6 star craft, I would only ever use those materials.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you want to maximize the opportunity just like we do. But if you're doing a lower tier craft, you will probably save them because it's not like you've got tremendous amounts. And I would say with the Alchemy Tower generally, like it's not something you are missing out if you don't do it.
Okay.
But it's a handy thing if you just want to get an extra 5 or 6 star craft. You can convert some of the older materials. Like for example, if you change your material rating on the left to like the higher star rating on the filters. On the filters on the left at the top there, yeah, you can change it up to like 6 star. Yeah, like you can see, you know, you can craft one of these, and this is where you would basically put your 2 materials, make sure you pick the right set, and you can basically craft exactly what you want. But you're not at a state yet where you're farming mythical and legendary materials. So you might want to convert those materials to the higher level if you can make an extra one. That's what the Alchemy Tower is for.
Okay. Talk to me about, in the vein of equipment, before I let you go, because this is the biggest thing I want to get out of this personally, right? Is artifacts, gearing. I find it quite more challenging, or it's probably just because I've been playing Raid for so long, right? But in terms of like knowing the stats in gears have extra stats sometimes, and it's a lot, and I'm still digesting everything, which is cool because, you know, I know that there's a lot of value there in strategy and optimization and customization and as I progress, which is all exciting. But right now, I don't know, like I'm almost a little bit scared to craft stuff right now, honestly, because I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad. And I don't know exactly what I need on every single hero on my account. So give me a little bit of a compass here, if you will. What's the best sets? What's a no-brainer? And, you know, what would you do right where I am right now if you were me?
Yeah, so the key thing to note is the top row, which is like the helmet, chest, and the boots are always flat stat primary. But once you once you go up to the 4-star plus, your amulet, your rings, your sort of jewelry, they now no longer are not just flat stat. When you're at like 3-star or below, I think it stays flat stat. When you go up to 4+, then you actually need to be more aware of like the primary stat for the non-top row pieces. And generally with sets, the big one is if you're bringing a support to your team, you kind of want to put them in vigor set because it means every time they take a turn, they'll gain an extra vigor charge. Okay. So that's going to help you use the abilities that you actually care about. So any support that isn't doing damage, vigor is a great option. I think it's either the elemental set or one of them gives you increased damage for your dot hero. So if you've got someone like, I think Anguish, and I think the girl that rips the bear apart, I forget her name, for places like Gorlos, that's going to be a very good set to use. Damage-wise, I tend to go with Rosier, that's the one, the crazy girl. They all do damage over time effects, so the set makes sense. For damage dealers, I tend to go more towards critical strike and critical damage rather than attack, just because you want to get to 100% crit rate if you can.
Well, I was going to say, number one question, obvious question is, do I want 100% crit rate on all my damage dealers, on all my nuker damage dealers, you know?
Well, not necessarily 100%, because it depends who you put it with and what they have. Like, my Better Bear can get away with 60% because I put it in a team with a character and himself that can basically gain the critical strike increase to get him up to 100%.
But you want to get there, ideally.
You do.
Through some methodology.
And that could be through substats, or you can do it through set bonuses or primary stats. So, and I haven't really dabbled yet in like the sort of belt, orb, and banner sets. That I haven't reached that level like you. I'm still learning these things, but you know, you can see here like some of the set bonuses that are available on the right. If you just check some of them out there, they're quite strong. Some of them, you know, look, when a target dies, gain attack up for the rest of the battle, kind of thing. And there's a lot of things you can do. Yeah, corrosion set would be great. It's exciting
to have that. I love the idea that they have the sets on the specific sets on the bottom row or whatever the ascension pieces. Really cool. What about like speed? How important is speed? Is everything in Raid? How important is speed in this game? Attack speed, you know, is that as essential?
Yeah, I mean, it's still really, really important, especially if the bosses are going super fast, right? Speed is still a valuable stat. One of the, I think it's either the ring or the earrings, I forget, has a primary stat for speed. Okay. Not one of the accessories, one of those. One of those can get primary stat for speed. I can't remember which one it is. You should probably try to put that on your characters for like supports. Anyone who's generating vigor for you, because vigor is going to define how you use all your big abilities. You absolutely kind of want to make them go super fast, because the faster they go, obviously the more vigor they're going to generate. So
Okay, and one thing I learned too is auto equip kind of stinks.
It's great to get you some gear, but it's not perfect. I wouldn't recommend.
Okay, I was using my first 2 weeks. I was only auto equipping because I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna worry about it. And then I went in. I'm like, wow, we're leaving a lot of meat off the bone here. But hey, this has been a lot of info, and I think it's a great time to cap it because I don't want to overwhelm players, but I did want to ask some of my obvious questions or some of my, I guess, my specific questions and pain points through my early progression. So thanks so much for being so generous with your time, Saph. Saph is uploading King Arthur Legends Rise on his channel as well. I'll link that in the description below. Let's have you back on maybe in another month or so and see how we're progressing here.
Yeah, sounds great.
And you might join my clan, I should say, right?
I might do, yes. It's a very strong possibility. We might
try
join
to make room every day. We kick the least active player. We might not do that forever, but if somebody's been like 5 days or 4 days inactive, I make room. So check out the ash holes as well and download the game in the description and the pinned comment, guys. Support us and support King Arthur Legends Rise. See us in game. Thank you to King Arthur for sponsoring this video. Thank you to you guys for watching all the way till the end. And as always, take care, guys.